Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Scrap Empire. My name is Zach Hayes, and I'm going to be talking about an important bout, not for this upcoming UFC Fight Night for this Saturday, but the UFC Fight Night on September 25th. We're going to have Alexander Volkanovski going up against Brian Ortega. Now, Alexander Volkanovski, I saw a fight with him going up against the respected and the world-renowned fighter, Jose Aldo. He's already developed an enormous reputation in the UFC. Fought the top guys in the division and is known for his striking ability. Now let's get started on Alexander Volkanovski. All right. Now when you watch the way he throws his hands, when you look at his posture, he has chest up. His body, everything looks symmetrical, right? He knows he knows on how to stay on the ball of his feet. He has that. Whenever you guys have the chance, look up Tom Monolix or Bob Fitzsimmons. He fights. He throws his hands like a early 1900s, late 1800s British boxer, British street fighter, or British bare knuckle boxer. Or he also stands like he fights like he stands like a Irish bare knuckle boxer. Right? Now, when him and Jose Aldo were exchanging blows with one another, were exchanging punches, kicks, and elbows, various forms of striking. Volkanovski loves to kick, but he loves to kick you in your thigh. He loves to kick you in your leg. All right, and throughout time, there were plenty of times throughout the fight where I noticed Volkanovski would kick and throw punches. So he's kicking to create space so he can throw the punches from a distance. And there's even that, and there were some times when he would just throw elbows or throw just strikes when he's near the cage. Right? So this guy obviously has the ability to stay relaxed and stay focused. And Jose Aldo isn't just some contender. Not there's anything wrong with being a contender, but you want to compete at the highest level. I mean, that should be the goal of any competitor, of anybody. In whatever you're doing in life, you should always strive to be the best at anything you do. And if you aren't going to be the best, you better be at least one of the best. I tell people that all the time. If you aren't going to be you can't be average, you can't be below. But if you aren't going to be number one, you better be number 2 or 3. Listen, if there's a slot, even the Olympics, right? There's a reason why you have gold medalists, silver medalists, and bronze medalists, right? Not everyone's going to be the gold medalist, but you could be a silver medalist or you could be a bronze medalist. At the end of the day, you're still a medalist. But at the same time, we didn't strive to get the bronze, nor are we striving to get the silver medal. We wanted the gold because gold is number one. So you should always put that a priority in whatever you do. Number one, number one. That's it. If you aren't going to be number one, then you better be just there. If you aren't going to be number one, you better be just there. Better be. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. But let's get back to the fight. Volkanovski, right, he knows how to move around as well. Right, and when you see, a lot of the times when I see guys with nice physiques, such as Alexander Volkanovski, they can move, but they're almost robotic. You can still be a fluid fighter with being with having a robotic style. It's just that's the style that you have, right? But Jose Aldo is known for throwing plenty of strikes, but it's almost as if Alexander Volkanovski just stripped those abilities away from him, and even like towards round 3, right, when you see the significant strike difference between Jose Aldo and Alexander Volkanovski, right? Alexander Volkanovski outlanded him throughout all of the rounds, and what's interesting is that Jose Aldo raised his hand up towards the end of the fight, and he was convinced that he probably could have gotten a decision. But I think us as fighters, we do that even when we know we lost, just to make ourselves feel good. But you have to be very in tune with your identity. You have to be very in tune with your with how you fight. You have to just be, even when you're fighting, you have to be in tune. I know there's a lot going on when you're in the octagon. When you're in the octagon, I know there's a lot going on when you're in a boxing ring, but you have to still be aware of your performance. Right? I understand that sometimes there could be robberies in the sport of fighting, in the art of pugilism. But 9 times out of 10, a fighter knows whether they won or lost a fight. They just know it. Even if they're raising their hands, they know it. They aren't telling you, but they know it. So Alexander Volkanovski, he put up an amazing performance against Jose Aldo. It's on UFC Fight Pass for you guys who want to check it out. Check it out to have an idea of everything that I'm talking about. And if you don't want to check it out, because it may be too long to the average person, and there's nothing wrong with that. Everything is for everybody, and I emphasize that a lot to people. Right? Not everyone has the patience to watch matches for 5 to 6 hours every day, and that's okay. Now let's get started with Brian Ortega and Max Holloway. Now, Brian Ortega, he reminds me of a WWE wrestler who goes by the name of Taz, right? I'm just talking about just his demeanor, right? Right? Just look at him when Bruce Buffer is announcing his name. He just looks like he just doesn't care about anything. And I don't mean that in a bad way, but he just doesn't care. He's just willing to die in a ring. He just has that hardcore approach. Like, I don't care. This is my territory. This is what I take pride in the sport. I love the sport. This is my territory. I'm coming into the sport. I'm coming into the ring. I'm coming into the octagon to take what I deserve. And now you have Max Holloway, right? One of the greatest UFC fighters of all time. So let's get started on a fight. Max Holloway, Brian Ortega, but then I would say the first round, right? I like the way how Brian Ortega fights, because he throws his punches, right? But the punches that he's throwing, like they're you right. Like I said, about a minute or two ago, you see that hardcore demeanor when he's transitioning into the octagon, and the way how he throws his punches, you see that ruthless aggression from the way how he just throws, right? And that's that's great about Brian Ortega. However, Max Holloway landed plenty of strikes, but again, you have so many types of strikers who strike in different ways. Because you have somebody like Brian Ortega, who's just more of a power puncher, just a hardcore puncher. He wants to get you out with those punches. He's trying to take you out with those punches. And now you have somebody like Max Holloway. He's quick, and he's just quick. He's just quick. He's all over the place. And he's landing the same jab, jab, right hand, jab, cross, jab, cross, over and over and over in the same exact place, which is the eye. Right? Just kept on landing it, kept on landing it, kept on landing it. Now, even though Max Holloway most likely outlanded Brian Ortega throughout all of the rounds, or at least 2 or 3 of the rounds, there were times throughout the fight, in round 3, Brian Ortega just immediately, I would give that round 3 to Brian Ortega, because he just came right into the round, just started throwing huge shots. But again, Max Holloway is a person, he wants to hurt you, but he's also he has a specific approach on how he's trying to take you out. And if he can't take you out, he's content with having his hand raised. Brian Ortega was just trying, he said, okay, these last 2 rounds weren't in my favor, so now I have to just throw shots to just take this guy out. And all of the shots that Brian Ortega was landing on Max Holloway, even Joe Rogan said it, which is why I say watch UFC Fight Pass, Brian Ortega versus Jose Aldo. Look it up. I hope that ain't come across as too aggressive. Even Joe Rogan said this. The shots that Brian Ortega is throwing seems to have more of an effect towards Max Holloway, right? Because he started wobbling, right? But again, Max Holloway kept on. He didn't let that mentally destroy him, because some fighters can get mentally intimidated by a fighter just coming out of nowhere and throwing big shots. Just stay relaxed and was able to stick with his game plan. So Max Holloway repeatedly kept on throwing those shots. Then eventually, Brian Ortega Brian Ortega was checked by the doctor, and the fight had to be stopped because his eye was bleeding, really bad. So I gave you an analysis of Brian Ortega. I also gave you an analysis of Alexander Volkanovski. Now, Brian Ortega, he's hardcore, and he has the ruthless aggression to take you out, because Brian Ortega hits you a certain amount of times. He can stun you, and if he keeps hitting you while you're stunned, he's going to make a statement. If he feels that he can see through the opportunity to make or create his statement, then that's exactly what he's going to do. However, Alexander Volkanovski. It's not necessarily similar to Max Holloway, but Alexander Volkanovski, he's strong and he's quick as well, and he can throw leg strikes that could potentially could potentially create more head strikes to throw at Brian Ortega. The same head strikes that were used to take him out by Max Holloway, and not take him out through a knockout or even a technical knockout, but the fight eventually had to be stopped because his eye was so bad. It looked very, very bad. So I'm going to give this fight prediction to Alexander Volkanovski. I just see him being more. He has more under his arsenal to face Brian Ortega, and I just don't see Brian Ortega being able to being able to hit Alexander Volkanovski and able to win. However, I'm not underestimating Brian Ortega. Just I'm not saying he can knock Alexander Volkanovski out. If he's able to have that ruthless approach and hit him with a clean shot, then he can do it. But I don't see him being able to be ruthless and aggressive for too long, only because Alexander Volkanovski is aggressive and he's quick and he's a smart fighter. He has so much under his belt to not lose. But again, I'll always give Brian Ortega, which is the underdog, I'll give him the benefit of the doubt to prove me wrong. So, champ, Saturday, September 25th. Let's see what you have. Are you going to succumb to the loss, or are you going to strive to be the victor, or are you going to strive for the victory that you deserve? Ladies and gentlemen, this is Scrap Empire. Please like, comment, subscribe to my channel. Thank you all for watching my content. Please leave any constructive criticism or feedback video. Thank you will allow me to help elevate my channel as well. Thank you all so much for watching my content, and I'll be posting more videos soon. Thank you all so much. Bye-bye.